I'm David Mendel with HAR TV, welcoming Ronnie Matthews with Great American Title Company. We're continuing our conversation about wire fraud. In part one, we talked about ways to identify it. Now Ronnie's going to help us understand ways to protect ourselves from it. Ronnie, we talked about some of the bogus emails, things to look out for, the cleverness of today's perpetrator of fraud. Simply, things as simple as just adding a numeric.
Change an email by one letter,
one digit,
one number.
A number, yes. Something as simple as that that's subtle and really undetectable. What are some safeguards that realtors can take on behalf of their clients?
I think what we have to understand, and first off, it is the realtor community that really needs to pay attention. We're in the middle of the transaction, we're in the middle of everything, and we're the ones that are being hacked and the information's coming through our system. So the very first thing is, as realtors, we have to have our Norton or McAfee or whatever antivirus we have. Start with that, because a lot of realtors aren't very good at keeping those things updated. It's very easy, if you're not paying attention, to let that slip. The other thing is you have to really pay attention to what you get. Every email, look at it. And if it doesn't seem right, feel right, don't open it. If you're not expecting an email from that person, don't open it. If it's somebody you deal with on a regular basis, but it looks odd, if it has an attachment or link that you aren't expecting, if it's somebody that you know, if you sent me something and I wasn't expecting it, then I would pick up the phone and call you and say, David, did you just send me this? Because how many times have we all seen where our friend's email has been hacked, and you get these weird emails and then suddenly they send out a blast, hey, my email's been hacked, don't open anything for me. That's happening all the time. So we have to be more observant. We have to pay attention to what we're doing, keep our Norton, our antivirus, those things updated, and watch out and read what we're doing. Don't just automatically, because we have an email, feel like we got to open it. If it doesn't feel right, delete it.
At what point are funds truly lost? At what point has the fraud been successful and now that money is gone?
What happens is, so a title company gets instructions, and by the way, it could be a lender, it could be a buyer or seller too, it could be anyway, but what's happened, what we've seen so far this past year is the title company gets fraudulent wiring instructions. When that wire is sent, when it leaves the title company's account, there's very little chance of catching it. We've had instances where the money got sent and it got realized quickly and a hold was put on at the other end. But what they do is, as soon as the money's sent, it gets to the new fraudulent account, they're waiting. As soon as it gets there, they're wiring the funds then are gone again. Once it leaves that, it's gone forever. And it happens, it's so hard to track. The authorities really don't care. FBI, all of those, there's been lots of complaints. They're not putting any effort into finding it because in their world it's small amounts. A couple $100,000 to them is nothing with what they're dealing with. So once it leaves the title company and gets to this bank, normally it moves very quickly out of there. And when it moves out of there, it's gone forever. There's no getting it back.
I think it's easy for people to sit back and say, oh, you know, I pay attention to my email, that'll really never happen to me. But you were telling me in your practice alone, you see this happening routinely.
Once or twice a week we see, and it's very clever. If it's not there, on our end as a title company now, and most other title companies have implemented the same thing, first off, we don't like to take instructions by email, wiring instructions. So one, handwrite it, fill it out while you're at the closing. If documents are sent overnight to someone, make sure you fill it out, that it's filled out in original and FedEx back. Then we know we've got originals. But regardless of when we have wiring instructions, unless it was filled out in front of us, we're calling the client from a phone number that we have from previous, not one that might be in an email, when the file and order was opened up. We're calling them, asking them to go through their wiring instructions and to confirm that it's accurate wiring instructions.
Well, we're going to provide additional links, additional resources, so our realtor members can consult those and really drill down and get some more tools to protect their practices from this kind of fraud. Any other suggestions that you would make for people to keep in mind?
I just think as far as realtors as a whole, when we're dealing with a transaction, be aware. When we're sending information, whether it's wiring instruction, any sensitive material, don't send it by email unless you just have to. Encrypted is one way of helping, but it's not foolproof either.
Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for your help.
Thank you, David.
And we hope you've benefited from this. This will be an ongoing series of videos produced in conjunction with the Professional Development Department at HAR. From all of us here at HAR TV, thank you for watching.